Good afternoon. I want to thank everyone for joining us here today on the RedChip conference. We're going to go ahead and get started here. The first slide is boilerplate information. Going to slide number 2, who we are. So Giggles N Hugs is a family restaurant and play space. And what that really means is that it's a restaurant whereby parents can come to and eat good, healthy, delicious, organic gourmet food while the kids get to run around and play. Many of you with little kids, small children, know what it's like to go out and eat with the little ones. And as you all probably have experienced, it can be very challenging at times getting a simple meal. The kids like to run around, they like to scream, they like to throw food around, they like to break things, spill things. And invariably what ends up happening whenever I've gone out with my children, a disaster has happened. Well, Giggles N Hugs was brought to life so that you don't have to be afraid to go out to eat with your children. They can come here to Giggles N Hugs. They can play. Every half hour there's some sort of an activity, whether it's karaoke or a concert or a puppet show or a magic show or face painting or whatever. Aside from the incredible play area that you have behind me, the kids are being entertained and are playing while the parents get to relax and have a beer and watch a ball game on the big screen TVs, have a good meal, or just have a conversation in peace, not having to worry about the disaster happening. And that's sort of what Giggles N Hugs is all about. We offer Wi-Fi for all the parents so they can come out and get on their Facebook pages and post and do whatever they want to do. They can come here for play dates with other parents and again, have discussions amongst themselves, all the while the kids are having a blast inside the play area. I'm jumping to the next slide here, business basics. So we currently have 2 locations. We just recently sold the 3rd location back to Westfield. Westfield decided to do a multi-billion-dollar renovation of our Century City Mall. As a result, we decided to sell the lease back to Westfield. And so we're down to 2 current locations here in the Los Angeles area. The goal is really simple for us to expand the company-owned locations, a physical footprint across the western United States and eventually branch out east. We have hundreds of opportunities for franchises here throughout the country in almost every state in the United States, as well as internationally from every nook and cranny of the world. From as far-fetched as Moscow, Russia, to Istanbul, Turkey, to Geneva, to Switzerland, to South Africa, to Colombia, Venezuela, Mexico, literally across the planet, people want to open up locations of Giggles N Hugs. We cater to a higher demographic or higher household income demographic. We tend to be in more affluent areas, but our prices are very moderate. In fact, our birthday pricing is even less than what you would pay at a typical Chuck E. Cheese. So you get all the bells and whistles of a very high-end restaurant, but pricing that is very reasonable and moderate. In fact, we beat companies like Chuck E. Cheese. The landlords are rolling out the red carpet for us. The existing locations that we have, the one we have now with Westfield, they paid us almost $500,000 in tenant allowances to get us in here. That $500,000 went towards the construction. They also spent another $200,000 in landlord work, construction work, and demolition work that they did for us. So in total, they gave us about $700,000 towards our build-out of the location here in the Topanga Mall. And that's huge for us because each location cost us about $1.2 million to build. So our capital outlay is about $500,000. Based upon the returns and the results we're seeing right now, the payback for each location is about 2 years, maybe a little over 2 years. The landlords love us. They look at us as a partner because we bring significant foot traffic to the malls, which is their lifeblood. As many of you know, consumers now are doing more and more of their shopping on Amazon and online in general. And so they're visiting the malls less and less. Well, given that the malls need foot traffic, need the physical footprint of consumers inside the malls, they are looking for ways to attract consumers to the malls, to physically drive them into the malls. And that's why they roll out the red carpet for us. We have general growth properties where we have our Glendale Galleria location. And many of you may not know this, but the Galleria is where Apple, Forever 21, Disney, Zara, all these iconic brands, their first locations, retail locations, were all started in the Glendale Galleria Mall. So we're really excited to be in that mall. In fact, General Growth Properties, another multi-billion-dollar landlord here in the United States, if I'm not mistaken, the second largest mall owners in the country, they went out of their ways to lure us and get us into their mall as well for the same reasons. They wanted us to bring our foot traffic and concept to the mall so that they can in turn attract, so that we can attract the foot traffic for them. And so they offered to give us about $500,000 in cash, but they also gave us a loan for $700,000, and that loan is interest-free, amortized over the 12-year term of the lease. So it got us, in essence, that location fully paid for by General Growth Properties dime. So we're really excited about that. We recently announced a LOI with QIC, a $75 billion fund out of Australia that happens to own many malls around the country here in the U.S. And QIC in the LOI has offered us up to $1.4 million in tenant allowances, which in essence fully pays for the entire rollout of our next location in San Francisco. What we're hoping for is that that sets a precedent for future deals, so that we can basically cover the entire cost of the build out on the landlord's dime. Next slide here that I'm going to. We have significant revenue increases in 2016 versus 2015. If I'm not mistaken, both locations year-over-year sales are up over 5%. For the quarter, I think revenues were up about 30% for Glendale and about 25% for Topanga, which are astronomical. Huge increases in sales. Our margins and the unit level cash flow are all at record levels. So we're really, really excited about that. Further validates the concepts and proves what we are able to achieve in the marketplace. We are a publicly traded company. We trade on the NASDAQ over-the-counter bulletin board under the symbol GIGL. I think the last time I checked, the stock was trading at around 16 or 17 cents a share, with valuing the company at a little over $20 million. Of course, the stock has been as high as 26 cents a share. It trades on average with over 4 million shares a day. It trades on average volume. We've seen it trade as much as 15 or 16 million shares over the recent past couple of weeks. So the stock is fully liquid, and we're the talk of the marketplace. Moving to the next slide here, the management team and leadership. I myself, who's founded the company, was in the finance world. I was a retail stockbroker at Lehman Brothers, TD Waterhouse, Prudential Beige, Sutro and Company. I managed assets for wealthy family offices and individuals, close to about $350 million. I have on my team some very high caliber, very experienced people in the restaurant business, John Kaufman and Philip Gay. Just to give you guys a little background on those guys, John Kaufman and Philip are the two main guys that were brought in by the founders of California Pizza Kitchen when they just had one location. Together, John and Philip, along with the founders of CPK, took the concept from literally one location and grew it to over 100 locations before selling it off to Pepsi for just a hair under $500 million. So these guys have been there and done that. Philip moved on and became the CEO of California Pizza Kitchen eventually, and then he moved on to become the CEO of Wolfgang Puck Enterprises, as well as the Daily Grill restaurant concepts, Grill in the Alley and the Daily Grill restaurants, another publicly traded restaurant company. John Kaufman was recruited by Lee Iacocca to become president and COO of Kukuru Chicken, which was a West Coast-based fast casual chicken concept similar to Boston Market. So both of these guys who've been there and done that have already gotten experience taking a brand from a couple of locations to hundreds of locations are now on our team. John is our president, Philip Gay is our chief business development officer, as well as our CFO. We are extraordinarily ecstatic and excited to have those guys on our team on my left and right hand. In addition to myself, Philip and John, we have Sean Richards as our chief operating officer. Sean came to us having run operations and managed multiple restaurants in his career at places like House of Blues, Planet Hollywood, Hard Rock Cafe, Hoodwink, which was one of the largest franchisors of Hooters. So he brings a lot of experience to the table in operations. Moving to the next slide. What sets us apart? Again, we are the only company that does what we do. There is no other restaurant with a giant family play area for children in the middle of the restaurant. We have delicious, fresh, nutritious, organic food that we serve for all adults as well as kids. And when I say gourmet food, I mean gourmet. You know, things like wild Alaskan salmon is on the menu, chicken breast paninis, with obviously the usual fanfare for parents with burgers and pizzas and pastas and what have you. But what's unique about our menu for children is that we puree vegetables and hide it in kids' favorite foods. So as an example, we would take a mac and cheese that's already made with fresh mac and cheese. We use organic cheddar cheese as opposed to the powdered processed mac and cheese that you get at most restaurants. We use real cheddar cheese, organic cheddar cheese. We use organic dairy. But beyond that, we infuse the mac and cheese with healthiness by pureeing vegetables and hiding it into the cheese sauce. So we'll puree carrots and squash, hide it in the cheese sauce. Kids think it's just a regular mac and cheese, but it's a boatload of vegetables. Same with our pizzas. We'll puree mushrooms and spinach, puree that, mix it into the tomato sauce, cover it up with the cheese. Kids think it's just a regular cheese pizza, but it's all vegetables. We provide activities and entertainment for children to keep them entertained and active. We have very few games, video games in here. We don't want our kids to be glued to video games. And so we do things like karaoke, and we'll have Mickey Mouse or Spider-Man or various characters appear. We'll do dance parties, so we'll do karaoke, arts and crafts, face painting, you name it, we do it. Anything to keep the kids entertained. Puppet shows, magic shows, concerts, theme nights, etc. We always have two play supervisors inside the play area so that as parents are relaxing and eating and or talking amongst themselves, they're also able to see their children inside the play area having a great time. We've become the it place in town in Los Angeles. We've been voted the #1 birthday party place by Nickelodeon. We've been voted the #1 family restaurant by Yelp. We literally are the it place in town. Moving to the next list, our clientele is some of the biggest celebrities in the country. You know, people like Halle Berry and the Beckham family and Gwen Stefani and Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner and Adam Sandler and Jay-Z and Beyonce. These are just a few of the examples of our clientele. They love Giggles and Hugs just as much as any other regular parent out there. In fact, for some of our celebrity clients, what we do and what we bring to the table is even more important because, as you know, with the sort of the microscope on these celebrities, you know, if they're out at a outing with their kids and the kids make a big fuss or a disaster happens because of the paparazzi following these celebrities, that becomes front page news across the country. And so many of these celebrities look to us even more so than the average parent out there. And you can go to our website and click on our media page to get a list of some of the clients that we have here at Giggles and Hugs. Again, it's a who's who of Hollywood. We've had major nationwide press across the planet, literally from every nook and cranny of the world that you can think of. We've been featured in Businessweek magazine, Forbes magazine, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, New York Post. We've been in People magazine 40 or 50 times. We've been in Us magazine 40 or 50 times, OK magazine a bunch of times. Again, you name it, Perez Hilton, across the planet. We've been in the San Francisco Chronicle, Boston Herald, literally every major newspaper, business magazine, and entertainment magazine we've been in. We've been featured in Access Hollywood, Entertainment Tonight, Fox News, Fox Business News, KABC, KTLA, the whole gambit. I don't know of another brand or concept like ours, particularly at our stage, that has gotten as much press, worldwide press, as we have. Next slide is the corporate video. I'll just skip over that and get to the next slide. You guys can go ahead and enjoy that yourselves. It sort of illustrates for you in a video format as to what it is that we do. As I said, we have a couple of locations. I'm moving on to the next slide here. We have a couple of locations currently, but we are in discussions with the top 4 largest mall owners in the country. That includes Simon Properties, General Growth Properties, Westfield, as well as Macerich and QIC, who are all opening up their entire portfolios of malls across the country and the planet for us to pick and choose from. One other topic of note that I should point out to many of you is that Westfield also now manages all the major airports throughout the nation. That includes LAX, Kennedy, LaGuardia, Newark, O'Hare, Boston Logan, and many more. And so Westfield, given the incredible relationship that we have with them and then already recognizing us for what we bring to the table, they want us at all the airports to come to the rescue of parents traveling with small children. Many of you who've traveled know what it's like to travel with small kids. Nowadays, particularly with all the security issues, you know, whether airlines are requiring parents and families and people in general to get to the airports 2 hours prior to their flights. And so as a result, if you're traveling with small children, you're going to go crazy. And so Westfield is now looking at us to go inside the airport so that we can come to the rescue of families traveling across the planet. Frankly, I think that's a huge opportunity for us because it's an incredible, aside from the enormous revenues that we think we're going to get out of that, we also think that it will provide us with an incredible marketing opportunity. So we're really excited about that. And hopefully soon we'll have some announcements that we can announce. Next slide, our expansion plans. Again, we're looking to expand 12 more locations, hopefully by the end of next year. We are also going to be launching our franchising. And as I mentioned, we have hundreds of parties from across the world and the country that is looking to us to do franchises. We've spoken to people like Sentosa World Resorts out of Singapore, who's wanting us to be in that resort in Singapore. We've spoken to parties from across the country and the planet. Our immediate plans are to go into markets like San Francisco, Seattle, Vancouver, and in particular anywhere with extreme weather. As many of you know, when it's nice and beautiful outside, we tend to take the kids outdoors and go to outdoorsy parks or go to the beach or go swimming in the backyard. And so whenever there's extreme weather or cold or rain, people flock to Giggles N Hugs. So we think that by being in markets like San Francisco and Seattle, it will give us significantly higher top-line revenues as compared to here in sunny Southern California, where the weather has been, extraordinarily nice for the past 3, 4, 5 years. Hence the drought. All right, moving on to the next slide. Again, franchising opportunities. I don't want to get into it too much, but we're looking at the typical franchise model where we collect anywhere from 3 to 8% of gross sales, plus an upfront licensing fee between $50,000 to $100,000. And we're talking to a number of parties right now about franchising. And I'll leave it at that. Again, just to expand our relationship with the mall owners, we are currently in malls that are owned by General Growth Properties in Westfield. We have negotiated deals or are negotiating deals with Simon Properties, Macerich, and QIC as we speak. One of the bullet points that I want to focus on here on this slide, where it says relationships with the largest mall owners, is Todd Starr. Todd was the former was a senior executive at Westfield. In fact, he was the guy that had approved the deals that we had gotten from Westfield. As you can imagine, Todd, being in the business for 25 plus years at Westfield, among other real estate mall owners, knows all the bells and whistles and all the tricks up the landlord's sleeves. And so when Todd went out on his own, we swooped in and got him to join our team and sort of help us by representing us on the tenant side with our negotiations with his former partners on the landlord side. So to have someone of Todd's caliber now on our real estate team negotiating on our behalf, on the tenant's behalf, really puts us way ahead of the game and gives us a huge advantage to others without his experience and no knowledge behind us. Moving on, licensing opportunities. Recently, we announced the addition of Domain Integrated as our public relations company. Michelle Steinberg, who's been involved with us now for about 8-10 months, has been incredible for us. That was a huge get for us. Through her help, we are going to be branching into licensed products and merchandising. Many of you may or may not know, but people like Kim Kardashian or Nicole Richie or Jessica Simpson, they are celebrities that are making far more money from their brand, their celebrity brand, than they ever had as actors or entertainers. In fact, people like Kim Kardashian and Jessica Simpson and Nicole Richie sell hundreds of millions of dollars of their various product lines, whether it be perfumes, whether it be clothing, whether it be beauty products, whatever the case may be. Those areas generate far greater rewards and profits for these celebrities than any acting gig that they may do. And given Michelle's background in this area, representing such celebrities as Elton John and Nicole Richie, and helping them launch their product lines and clothing lines, she's going to be doing the same for us, and has already started that area of work. So the goal of the company is really simple: is to come out with our frozen foods, with our kids menu, as I mentioned, with the healthiness, with the pureed vegetables. We want to offer that at your local supermarkets, at Trader Joe's or Whole Foods or Ralph's, similar to what California Pizza Kitchen is doing and or Wolfgang Puck is doing currently with their frozen pizzas. Again, many of you may not know this, but these companies probably generate more revenues on their frozen pizzas than they do from their physical store locations. And so it's a natural progression for us to start selling our food, kids' food in particular, at your local supermarkets, which we're very excited about. And beyond that, we're looking at our clothing line. Joan Barnes, who's on our advisory board, is the founder of Gymboree. Gymboree started out as a gym where parents would do mommy and me classes. She launched her clothing line, and that brand became the Gymboree, the largest clothing retailer in the United States. And so for us to have her and her business acumen and experience helping us with our clothing line is going to be invaluable. And so that's another area that we're looking at. I want to make sure that all your subscribers and viewers understand that our primary focus is going to be expansion of the physical footprint of our stores, company, and franchises, but we are also going to be focusing on these other areas. I think initially what we're thinking is that we are going to license these various opportunities out and collect a royalty. Once these businesses become big enough, then we can reel it back in and start focusing more energy and time on that. But for now, I think we're looking at these opportunities as revenue streams, royalty revenue streams, versus anything else. And again, kids' furniture, drinkware, snacks, coloring books, vitamin water for children, our sauces, our pizzas, etc. These are the areas that we're going to be looking at, and you'll see some announcements in the weeks, months, years to come in this regard. Moving on, you guys can go ahead and take a look at Michelle's background and her experience. This slide sort of talks about that. I don't want to bore you with it, but she's incredible, and we are extremely privileged to have her on our team. Just of note here on this slide, Michelle was the PR person that was behind the launch of Planet Hollywood. She was the reason why brands like House of Blues and Planet Hollywood brought in the names like Bruce Willis and Arnold Schwarzenegger and Will Smith to those various concepts. Just in the past couple of 2-3 weeks, you may have seen us announce the addition of Jillian Michaels as our global brand ambassador. That was done through Michelle's work. We're extremely excited to have Jillian on our team. As you know, she is a nationwide brand. The entire country knows of her. She's the health guru of the country, and her principles stands extremely well with our principles. And she happens to be one of our best customers, and she has 2 children, and she comes here with her partner, and she lives and experienced a Giggles N Hugs. So we couldn't have been more happier to have someone like Jillian accept being our global brand ambassador. And she's an investor in the company as well as Tia Mowry, who we just recently announced a couple of weeks ago. Tia, again, you guys can go look at the press release, but to have these 2 huge celebrities, I think combined total, they have reached, 40 or 50 million followers on social media, combined total, which is an enormous population for us to communicate our message to. We're really ecstatic about that. This next slide, the single source economics. What we're forecasting is that each location will cost about $1.2 million to fully construct and build out. That also includes about $250,000 worth of pre-opening expenses. We're forecasting that we would get about $600,000 per location from the landlords into the form of tenant allowances, which means that our out-of-pocket is about $600,000. Of course, the deals that we've gotten has been a lot more tenant allowances than $600,000, but just to be on the conservative side, we're looking at $600,000 as the number. We hope to be more, but $600,000 is the number that we're going to get from the landlords. If that were the case, then we would come out of our pocket an additional $600,000. Now, what we expect and forecast is that each location will generate about $1.7 million a year in revenues. The total cost of that revenue is about $1.4 million. Net store-level profits will be about $325,000. We're allocating about $50,000 towards corporate operating costs, which means earnings before interest, taxes, and depreciation of about $275,000 and over about 16% net margins or EBITDA margins per year per location. And keep in mind that our Glendale location is generating this last quarter over 24%, if I remember correctly, of net margins. So we're being very, very conservative here with our forecasts. So if we were to achieve these kinds of results, as you can see, if you're earning $275,000, your payback is just a little under 2.5 years, which is incredible. Next slide, track record of revenues. Again, if you look at the revenues, notwithstanding us selling the Century City location, we would have another record year for 2016, and you'll see those numbers in our 10K. If it's not out already, it will be out imminently. So I won't go through this too much. Same-store sales performance, again, I'll let you guys look at the 10K and the filings to get additional clarity, but you can see how well we've done on this slide. Moving forward to the next slide here, which is basically the summary. You can contact us and our domain or our investor relations firm, RedChip. And if you have any further questions, I'm happy to open this up to Q&A now.
We're now opening the line for our Q&A session with Giggles N Hugs. Ticker symbol again, GIGL. This is Giggles N Hugs. And we have on the line with us today CEO and founder Joey Parsi. Welcome, Joey.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Glad to have you back. I've got quite a few questions, so we'll just try to jump right in here. We've had several investors ask about franchising, if there's any update as to when the first franchise might be expected and where that might be, and et cetera.
Well, you know, it's difficult for me to say when that will happen. I can tell you that we're working hard on getting franchises and/or joint ventures. Oftentimes, joint ventures can be just as good as a franchise without all the paperwork and need to register in all the states and what have you. So we're working on both fronts, franchises and joint ventures here in the U.S. as well as internationally. We're talking with a party right now for the Middle East. We've talked to people from Singapore. We've talked to people from Latin America, Geneva, all over Europe. So there's a lot of discussions going on. When we actually sign the dotted line is anyone's guess. I don't want to put myself in a corner by telling you it's going to happen today, tomorrow, next week, next year. I can just tell you that we're working very hard towards it.
Very good. Thank you, Joey. And we've also had quite a few questions come in regarding the Jillian Michaels being a celebrity brand ambassador. Could you talk a little bit more about that relationship and what it means for the company and what her involvement is and some timelines involved as well?
In short answer, it is incredible and huge for a company like ours to have the caliber of person or celebrity that Jillian Michaels is. With her huge, enormous clout and following, to have someone believe in us, so much so where they actually decide to lend us their name and credibility, that speaks volumes, I think, to anyone. Her role as our global brand ambassador is really simple. It's to communicate our message to the world and let the world know who we are, what we're trying to do, and where we want to go. Over the next few weeks, months, and years, you're going to see her, as well as myself, appear on shows like Good Morning America or The Ellen Show or The View or The Talk or any of these other shows where we will talk about Giggles and Hugs and what we do and how we come to the rescue of families with little kids and how we put on some of the best, greatest birthday parties in town, arguably in the country, and communicate that message to the world. And she's also going to be helping us with the launching of our clothing line and our frozen food line. I can tell you that as we speak, we are incorporating a lot of her recipes from her recent cookbook into our menu, and so we'll have even better and healthier options for our families to enjoy. So to have her, as well as Tia Mowry, who in her own right is as big, if not bigger, than Jillian Michaels, we'll all be doing the same thing. We're going to be, social media, television, print, publishing, you name it, whatever the medium is, we're going to be talking about who we are and what we're trying to do. And I just want everyone to know that we're just getting started. We brought on Michelle Steinberg, who was the bridge to these celebrities, and she being one of the top, if not the top PR person in the country, now being a part of our team is incredible. And so we think that over the next few weeks, months, you're going to see a lot more celebrity involvement, ambassadorships, and investments, and the like. So we're very excited about Jillian and Tia and the potential opportunities to work with as big of celebrities as the current ones.
Very good. Thank you, Julia. Thank you for that. And that actually takes us to our allotted time, unfortunately. For our viewers, we were just talking with Joey Parsi, who is founder and president of Giggles N Hugs, and CEO. And again, that's GIGL on the OTCQB. Again, that's Giggles N Hugs, GIGL. You can find out more information about Giggles N Hugs right here at RedChip.com.